compliance, and I call the meeting of the Legislative Committee to order at 10:40. And roll call, please.
Member Chaplin. Member Childress.
Yes.
Chair Desart. Here. Member Eckhoff.
Here.
Member Colossi. Here. Member Zay.
Oh, he's next to us, wow. All right, so roll call, we do have a quorum and we can continue. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes 3A 23-0825 of the Legislative Committee on Tuesday, February 14th. I moved it, Mr. Childress seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, those are approved. Do we have any public comment?
None provided.
Okay, I don't have any charitable remarks other than to say thank you so much to Cheryl for digesting all of our notes from last meeting and putting it into a brand new document. Does anybody have any questions or comments about the federal legislative agenda?
Just to follow up on the chair's remarks, I added 2 sections, one on housing support. I did speak with the DuPage Housing Authority, and I added a couple of bullet points about increasing the number of Section 8 housing choice vouchers and keeping the discretionary fund. The new housing director who started last year, everyone starts on the Housing Authority Board, Sharon Corbett. She does plan to be very involved with whatever mechanism Chair Conroy decides for an affordable housing, subcommittee. She will be sharing some thoughts. She's working on some of her own issues that aren't really relevant for the federal agenda that she's working with the HUD regional office on, but she'll give an update to that affordable housing group once it's established. And then per Member Chaplin, I also added, I think it's on page 13, a clean drinking water section. She was concerned about, aging infrastructure and clean drinking water. The county has received several earmarks in the past to connect individuals from well water to Lake Michigan water, or at least to assist with that cost of hooking up. So I added that language. And then Jason sent everyone an email on February 15th about the definition of an assault weapon. I don't know if you all saw that. So I think those were the main issues the committee had asked me to address. And Sarah Hunt has not gotten back to me on the rainfall. Remember, Eckhoff had a question about the rainfall data that was in here that I got from Sarah, and she was out of the office yesterday, and I called her first thing this morning.
I'm just enjoying them.
And Cheryl, correct me if I'm wrong, but these legislative agendas, the federal one and the state one, are living documents. We can always change.
And you do amend them periodically.
Because we were talking in animal services this morning about some of the animal rights legislation coming out of Springfield, so we can always amend our documents.
Right. So what I typically do, March 10th. So there was about 5,000 bills introduced in Springfield. I've been through all but 1,000 so far. I got 1,000 to go.
Slacker.
I know. But I make a pile. So I make an environmental pile. I send those to Joy Hens. I make a transportation pile. I send those to Chris Schneider. Probation, I send to Suzanne. And so I just say, is there something in here you really love or really hate? Because anything to monitor, I don't need to bring forward, because March 10th is the committee deadline. So March 10th is when House bills have to be on a House committee, Senate bills have to be on a Senate committee. So that's when I really look at the list, because I don't want to start bringing bills to your attention that aren't going anywhere.
Right.
And 2/3 do not. So I have a master list. I would say for the March 14th. So we can't meet February 28th because we have ethics training after county board. So that would probably be too long. March 14th, I plan to hopefully have a legislative committee after county board, and I'm going to group bills, animal services, transportation, environmental, that I think it's really important for the committee to take a position on. We don't like to take positions on hundreds of bills because it dilutes our ability to be for or against something, right? So our lobbyists are always like, we cannot lobby that many bills. It's fine if you want to just file a slip, but we try and be very judicious and consensus so that, we're taking positions on bills that affect county government. So it's not that we don't care about everything in the world. It's just you can't be all things,
Right.
to all people. So that's why you're right. This is kind of the topics, but I still bring the bills to your attention. I've never slipped a bill without this committee's authority, except when there's the 1 hour posting, which we get, and then I try and call Chair Desart and Chair Conroy. And if I can't, I just make a decision. But normally I can get a hold of one of them, or I can tie it back to this. But I will bring forth on March 14th that specific list of bills, and I'll probably bring it, March 28th. So every 2 weeks I'll have a refined list because bills change and they get amended. But the list will only be like 50 or 60 bills. I try not to keep it hundreds because it's just too much for you to read and digest and consider and vote on. But we can find a bill in the middle of the week and I call and you're like, yeah, take a position on it. So we have some flexibility because it's just the nature of how things are in Springfield.
And the nature is that this is a busy time, so we're gonna meet very often, and then there will be slower times, like during the summer, when we may not meet for a month or two, so. Yeah, busy times. Thank you so much for
Sure.
picking us up on this.
Sure.
So any questions or comments about this new document that we're here to approve? All right, then without objection, I will, I move to support LEG-R-0035-23 to adopt the resolution adopting the county's 2023 federal legislative program. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Comments, questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, that passes. Thank you so much. Any old business? Any new business? I just wanted to reiterate that Animal Services, Laura Flamian, is going through some bills and legislation that she'd like us to consider for, for the benefit of animals and pets and all things animal services that we'll be bringing to you. And without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you, do I have to